product we make has a standard 100 milligram psilocybin with lion's mane, turkey tail, cordyceps, reishi, chaga, agarikon, turmeric, sea moss, holy basil, brahmi, and holy basil, 50 milligrams of niacin, and then 50 milligrams of magnesium threonate.
Oh, beautiful.
And then we make a sister product that we call Mind's Eye Harmonize without the 100 milligrams in there. So you take them together. So when the psilocybin wears off after 3-4 hours, you're not dipping. And you're staying in that like amplified state of being. And then on your days off, you can take that as well when you're giving those receptors a little bit of the rest that they deserve and the neuroplasticity that they're working through. Thanks, Justin, for dropping that email in there. Okay, so Dr. Z, thank you so much for answering our questions that we came up with at Medicine Box. We could keep going on and on and on about these topics. And thank you for actually speaking genuinely about kind of the dangers and things that we're seeing in the wider psychedelic space with, you know, the rise of narcissism and the psychedelic hucksters and the next, you know, money grab and big thing. So pay attention who you work with, who you collaborate with, and then who you're, you know, handing your health over to as well. So
and ultimately I think that's why legalization and decriminalization is going to be important. Because if you're desperate to get better and the only person offering the treatment you want is someone who's a little bit of a mad hatter, and you're just so eager and ready to heal, that's your option.
That's
right?
That's the word. And it's unfortunate that we have to use that word like that, but that's the best one that we come up with. Okay, so Savannah, any study on healing thyroid issues with psychedelics?
That's a really interesting question, and it's one that I'm curious about. And the answer is no, not that I'm aware of. And what I will say is this. Here's what I've seen is thyroid. Let's trade out the word thyroid for any disease. If there is a psychospiritual component to the disease, then I am confident that the psychedelics will help that condition. Sometimes disease is really just in the body. Sometimes it's just that you're a flight attendant and you're exposed to a lot of radiation, right? Psychedelics aren't going to heal that one. So, but yeah, I am curious about that. I'll also say, here's the other thing I want to say about thyroid. Thank you so much for bringing it up. The number one most organic cause of depression is hypothyroidism. So another thing when you're working with addiction, not just addiction, but any condition, any mental health condition, is, okay, maybe you want to have a psychedelic experience. Fair enough. Has anyone checked your thyroid? Has anyone made sure you're not anemic? Has anyone ruled out celiac disease? You know how many alcoholics have celiac disease and don't know it? Right? And those are things that psychedelics probably are not going to heal. So making sure you're covering all your bases.
The psychospiritual component is huge. My girlfriend has a thyroid condition, and she just got Lyme's disease, and and how almost serendipitous. We were at a peyote ceremony in Nyack, New York, and it was like May, and the grass was really tall, and so
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she's working through it though. She's a trooper. This is just funny. December Bark that is exactly why AA fails. He forgot to mention the LSD part. We need to bring that back in order for it to have a better success rate. Bill did mention LSD, but it was his comrades that put him down with the abstinence model. It was an outside issue rules. Someone asked about how to get in touch about a psychedelics and recovery meeting. My calendar's in the chat there, and I always like to take 30-minute calls with folks interested in this stuff. Let's see, transcript of the meeting. Yes, there will be recording of the video, a transcript, show notes. We'll broadcast that back out to the list. Will microdosing do anything for chronic pain?
Maybe. From the studies, for example, the Fadiman and Korb study, there was an incidental finding. This was people from across the world reporting their results. Seemed to help, in particular, with chronic pain after shingles, with migraines, and PMS was another incidental finding. Chronic pain often has a mental emotional component to it. Very often has a mental emotional component to it. And so I would feel confident that microdosing would be worth a try. There's also an excellent podcast on chronic pain that I'm blanking on the name of right now. It was a woman who worked with John Sarno. First of all, if you haven't read No More Back Pain by John Sarno, just do that. Just start there. And if I find the podcast, Brian, I'll send you the link to share with folks too.
I need to read that book, No More Back Pain, from the 36 years of skiing I've done, mountain biking, hiking.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to be very mindful of Dr. Z here. There's one more.
Let's do it. Lightning round.
Branda, I talked to Branda on the day before Thanksgiving, and she's in Oklahoma, and she was with her little, I think her nieces, and they were making lemon meringue pie. And I said, if I could trade you lemon meringue pie for my microdosing products, I would, but you're so far away.
Yeah.
I love this quote. Thank you for posting this. It is no measure of hell to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Krishnamurti. That's a great word. Getting to the root of the problem. It's not drugs, it's plant medicine. I call them medicines, they healed me. Luke said, what is everyone's thoughts on using the word drugs to describe psychedelics and cannabis? What is a better descriptor word? Do you have a better descriptor word for?
I use drugs and medicine interchangeably for plant medicines and synthetic medicines because they're all both.
Yeah. What's the only difference between drugs and medicine is the dose, right?
No, I think the only difference between drugs and medicine is your attitude. Like, the word drug is not an inherently disparaging word. It can be It can be It can be a weaponized word, but the word itself is not.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have a negative connotation or a medical connotation. I think it's the context and how you're using it.
Thank you for reframing that.
Yeah.
Even when I say drugs or like the drugstore, my dad would always say, going down to the drugstore. He's talking about like
the pharmacy.
Right? He's the pharmacy.
Right.
I'd be like,
and how funny that they sell cigarettes there.
Yeah.
Different way. It's a drug. They sell a drug.
Yeah.
I remember I used to live in Boulder, Colorado, and one of my Dot's Diner is where I would have brunch all the time. And there was a waitress who would come by with a pot of coffee and she would just say, more drugs.
One of my friends, he'll remain anonymous here, but he's quite a jokester and he loves ketamine. The old that song, the Folgers coffee song, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. His version of that is the best part of waking up is drugs.
Is drugs? Oh, God.
He's a jokester.
Okay.
The world goes around because he's in it. I love him.
I would say breakfast, but
I would say breakfast.
I
would say my meditation is the best part of me might come up, but so I wanted to give accolades to someone here that wrote about alcohol. December Barkus, mushrooms have been healing my alcohol-induced neuropathy as well. Good to hear that.
I just found the link to the podcast, so I'm dropping it in the chat.
Cool.
And
I can stay on, everybody,
Nicole Sachs.
Dr. Z goes on to her next. Are you treating patients or another webcast, podcast, research? What are you doing?
I have patients today.
Yeah, let's get Dr. Z off to her patients. Have some patience so she can get to her patients.
I know.
And I will happily stay on if anyone else wants to ask questions about the topics that we're exploring, about products, about Medicine Box, about me, about recovery, anything. So I look forward to chatting with you again, as there's a lot more to talk about, and we will send you all this beautiful content and the conversation that we just had. And
Thank
if there's
you.
anything else, and um, any closing comments for the audience, or the last 30 days of 2022, send us off.
You know, the holiday season is upon us, and this is a time of year where people tend to push alcohol on one another.
Mm.
Alcohol is the only drug where if you're not using it, people want you to explain why. And I just want to remind everyone, you don't owe anyone anything.
Yep.
You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone a drink. Stay true to you. Stay healthy this holiday season.
Brian, you're still not drinking? Yeah, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm moving forward, not backwards.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I don't drink either. And people are sometimes like, why don't you drink? And I just go, it doesn't bring me joy.
Yeah.
And that kind of just shuts down the conversation. It's like, the honest answer is, it's none of your business. Or like, I don't really want to go into it right now. But it's like, yeah, it doesn't bring me joy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I just don't like how I feel when I do it.
Yeah. Is it
And it's like,
spiritually expansive or spiritually constrictive? Is it also a good question to ask yourself. And alcohol is very spiritually constrictive.
Sure can be.
In my experience. Or another answer that I like to give is like, trust me, you don't want to see me drinking. You just don't. So that's why.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so stay true to you this season. You got this. This time of year is weird. And just
it really is.
Be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
This time of year.
Be gentle. That's it. Be kind, be compassionate, give yourself some love. So well, from the bottom of my heart and Medicine Box and everyone else out there in the world, I so appreciate you joining us today. It was quite awesome.
Thank you. It was really my pleasure.
We packed in a lot of good information and education in a very short amount of time, and applaud you for doing the good work up there in Oregon, and just really look forward to seeing all the beautiful work that you continue to do in the world.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, and making an impact.
Yeah, it was Brian. It was really just a pleasure to drop in and chat with you, and kudos on what you're doing too. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to sign off, everybody. Make sure you copy paste those links in there that Alana posted, and book a time with me if you want, even if you've talked to me before. I like talking with people. Our mini course is out. We're running that for $47 through the rest of the year. That has Dr. K on there, Dr. Karina, integrative and functional medicine doctor out of Santa Monica and Santa Fe, as well as Sean Merrick. He is in the Nevada City, California area. I noticed someone, Brandy Navarro, was in Colfax. So that's really awesome education. It's a 4-week do it yourself, do it at your own pace modules. Some cool exercises in there, as well as our Mushroom Manifesto ebook. Lots of great valuable information, clickable links, where to reach us, where to get products. And then our 90-day bundle that we had great success with over the Black Friday, Cyber Monday holiday extravaganza sales event. But that contains the 2 products that I spoke about with Dr. Z. It's the microdosing product with the nootropic, and it's meant to be taken together on your days on and days off. That includes a diet with all very much cognitive enhancing food creations that are all plant-based, a microdose tracker that's very analog, where you can upload it into your Good Notes app or onto your iPad or tablet, and keep track of your days on, days off, your concentration, your focus, setting intentions, taking notes. It's really fun to be able to track your journey through this process and see where you were at and where you're going and where you arrived, even though we never arrive at the destination. So you know where to find us, and appreciate you all. And keep an eye out in your email, as we'll be rebroadcasting this probably, I'd say, after the weekend at latest, but we always rebroadcast the full recording, the transcription, timestamps if you want to skip through. And again, thank you for being accountable to your own health and happiness, and being curious to join us today. I appreciate all of you so much and all of your time. And may the next 30 and a half days, almost to the dot here, of 2022 just be amazing, awesome, and full of joyful presence. Thanks.